COP29 Climate Summit underway in Azerbaijan's capital Baku. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus to address the summit tomorrow. Professor Mohammad Yunus addresses meeting of high-level climate club leaders calling for adequate financial and technical support for climate-vulnerable countries. Chief Advisor meets world leaders including Turkish President on the sidelines of the climate summit and discusses bilateral issues including climate crisis. Fascist Hasina government destroyed the country's economy during last 15 years through bank looting, money laundering, stock market scam and high inflation, say economists. Information advisor urges media to prevent rumors against interim government and highlight incidents of human rights violations during previous fascist government. At least 35 people killed after a car plowed into crowd outside a sports center in China. And Bangladesh to face Maldives in FIFA International Friendly Football match tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum, this is Sabah Sakdir Arshi welcoming you to News at 10. You have just heard the highlights, now on to the details. The COP29 Climate Summit has begun at the Baku Stadium in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus has joined the Climate Summit. In solidarity for a green world, representatives of nearly 200 countries, including heads of state and government, are attending the conference. Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres welcomed the heads of state and government at Baku Stadium. This year's conference is being held amid expectations as well as concern with the re-election of Donald Trump as U.S. President, who has pledged to row back on the United States carbon-cutting commitments. Trump's return looms over talks with fears that an imminent U.S. departure from the landmark Paris Pact to limit global warming could mean less ambition around the negotiating table, said sources in Baku. The negotiating priorities will also be competing for government's resources and attention against economic concerns and the war in Ukraine apart from Trump's re-election. These challenges aside, the conference is being held in a year which reports say will be the hottest ever yet. This will be the first year that global temperatures are over 1.5 degrees warmer than in pre-industrial times. Bangladesh, one of the most climate-vulnerable countries, will present the demands and risks it is facing due to climate change at the summit. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus said most climate-vulnerable countries with limited decarbonization capacity need to have adequate financial and technical support to develop green industries. He said Bangladesh is willing to work with Climate Club to catalyze international cooperation in terms of capacity building, technology transfer, and concessional decarbonization finance. The Chief Advisor was speaking at the high-level Climate Club leaders meeting hosted by Germany and Chile at COP29 in Baku. Professor Yunus said deep, rapid and sustained reduction in greenhouse gas GHG emissions and comprehensive international action are required for reducing global GHG emissions by 43% by 2030, reaching net zero by 2050 to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. He called for demonstrating and deploying proven low-emissions technologies, particularly in emerging markets and developing economies. These high capital costs can be a barrier for industries, particularly in most vulnerable developing countries like Bangladesh, with limited access to financing, he said. The Chief Advisor said advancing ambitious mitigation policies in a fragmented way is leading to emitting industrial activities, moving to regions with less stringent or no carbon pricing policies, which leads to carbon leakage and thus may hamper the global goal of reducing overall global emissions. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus passed a busy day today, the opening day of the COP29 Global Climate Summit in Baku. Chief Advisor Professor Yunus met at least 20 top leaders of countries across the globe and heads of international agencies. The chief advisor met Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the Turkish First Lady at the summit of the world leaders at the COP29 venue. President Erdogan invited him to visit Turkey. He assured Bangladesh of all possible help in its journey to carry out deep reforms and build a prosperous country. Professor Yunus invited the Turkish first couple to visit Bangladesh soon. The chief advisor also met UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Professor Yunus met and greeted Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu, Bhutanese Prime Minister Shering Tobgay, and President of Nepal Ramchandra Podal. Among others, the chief advisor met the Prime Minister of Belgium, President of Ghana, Prime Minister of Bosnia-Herzegovina, President of Rwanda, Prime Minister of Albania, President of Montenegro, Prime Minister of Barbados, Vice Presidents of Brazil and Iran, and Director General of IOM. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has accepted an invitation from Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus to join the Youth Festival in Bangladesh in January next. The Chief Advisor briefed him about the festival and sought his help in bringing reputed women's football teams to Bangladesh. The Grand Imam of the Al-Azhar Al-Sharif Ahmed El-Tayyib said Bangladesh would prosper and grow under the leadership of the country's Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus. The head of one of the most respected Islamic religious institutions also invited Professor Yunus to deliver a speech at the millennium-old institution, saying the Al-Azhar University would announce new, fully funded scholarships for the Bangladeshi students. The Al-Azhar Grand Imam said this when he called on Professor Yunus at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in the Azerbaijan capital Baku on Tuesday morning. "We are optimistic about the future of Bangladesh under your leadership. You are a man of wisdom," Ahmed Al-Tayyib said, adding the country would reach a new height after the revolution. Professor Yunus thanked the Grand Imam for the invitation. He also invited the Grand Imam to visit Bangladesh and to see for himself the profound changes brought in by the student-led mass uprising. The Grand Imam hoped that Bangladesh would carry out the reforms. He praised Professor Yunus's leadership, his social services, Grameen Bank's pioneering role as a microlender, and his lifelong efforts to combat poverty. Professor Yunus expressed his gratitude to Al-Azhar, saying way back in the early 1980s when he launched the Grameen Bank, the top Sunni Islamic institution decreed that the microlender's interest system was not in conflict with Islamic teachings. Social Development Foundation SDF has given financial assistance to the families of 7 martyrs and 49 injured during the anti-discrimination student movement. Finance advisor Dr. Salehudin Ahmed handed over the checks of financial assistance to these families. Speaking on the occasion, the finance advisor said installments of loan taken by the families from the SDF projects will be waived. In addition, training and job for the unemployed family members of the killed and injured will be ensured. Social Development Foundation SDF is a financial organization under the Finance Ministry. The number of beneficiaries under different projects of the organization is approximately 1.8 million. Financial assistance was given to 7 martyrs, including Abu Sayyid. Each of the 7 martyr families was given taka 2 lakh. On the other hand, taka 1 lakh was given to each of the 16 seriously injured, while taka 50,000 was given to 33 injured. Secretary of the Financial Institutions Division, Najma Mubarak, and SDF Chairman Dr. Muhammad Abdul Majid were present. Bank looting in the name of loans, money laundering, capital market scams, and high inflation had intensified during the last 15 years, which destroyed the country. During the period, Bangladesh moved away to a group-based economy from a free market economy. For this reason, economists think that administrative reform is necessary to strengthen the base of the country's economy. Analysts say zero-tolerance policy should be taken to tackle business syndicate and market monitoring. During the tenure of previous government, there was a quarter which kept the whole economy under its grip. To establish a sustainable economy, good governance should be brought back, says the analyst. Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs advisor Asif Nozrul has said problems in judiciary will cease to exist if the task of Judicial Reform Commission is implemented. He said this while exchanging views with journalists after the meeting with Judicial Reform Commission at Judicial Administration Training Institute in the capital today. The advisor informed that the Chief Justice and the High Court judges will be appointed under the new law. He stated that cases in absentia used to be lodged during the tenure of the previous government. However, the government after 5th August is not filing any such case. Information and Broadcasting Advisor Mohammad Nahid Islam called upon the mass media in combating rumors against the interim government. The advisor made the call during a press briefing after his view exchange meeting with the editors of daily newspapers and Association of Television Channel Owners in the Secretariat today. He urged the journalists to publish information about all misdeeds of the fascist Al-Mali government, including enforced disappearances and murders. Mohammad Nahid Islam said the government is working to ensure free media. At the same time, he also informed that the government has already formed a media reform commission to ensure sustainable freedom of the sector. Suggestions will be sought from all in this regard, he added. Informing that other laws like the Cybersecurity Act will also be revised, the Information and Broadcasting Advisor urged the television channel owners to pay salary and bonus to media workers timely. Secretary of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, Mahbooba Farzana, was present at the meeting. Chief Prosecutor sent a letter to Inspector General of Police IGP regarding issuance of red notice for arresting absconding Al-Mali leaders, including former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The letter has been sent on Sunday on behalf of International Crimes Tribunal Chief Prosecutor Muhammad Tajul Islam. The Chief Prosecutor confirmed this today while briefing the newsmen at the International Crimes Tribunal. Meanwhile, law teacher of Gono Bishwabidayala, Muhammad Liman Hussain, filed case against 9 people, including former Additional Director General of Rapid Action Battalion, RAB, Ziaul Ahsan. He lodged the allegation at the International Crimes Tribunal today. Besides, the International Crimes Tribunal issued warrant of arrest against 4 police officials, including former OC investigation of Jatrabari Police Station Zakir Hussain, who was accused in July-August mass killing. Now, international news.